Welcome, welcome, welcome. If we are meeting for the first time, make sure you drop your name down in the chat so I can greet you properly. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And if we are old friends and family, welcome back. Y'all know the vibes. Drop some flames down in the comments. How y'all doing? How y'all living? How y'all feeling? All right, I'm trying to find some background jams. I know they be tripping on here sometimes, but I need a little background vibes while y'all come in. All right, so again, if you are new here, make sure you drop your name down in the chat so that I can greet you properly. Not they making me sign all the way in. Oh, I guess we don't need no background music. Okay. All right. If you are meeting for the first time, drop your name down in the chat so I can greet you properly. If you are old friends and family, make sure you put some flames down in the comments. Let me know. Let me know that you're here. Say what's up, what's up, what's up. All right. So today's conversation, today's discussion is going to be on the topic of money as a relationship mirror and how we put those two together and how we manifest and how we manifest specifically as womb holders. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Again, drop your name down in the comments if you're meeting for the first time so I can greet you properly and so that you can feel comfortable coming back again. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, and I also have a pen. This is my first time putting like a pen comment over there at the top. So, which is the hardest for you? Y'all could drop that down in the comments. Which is harder? Hey, Booney. which is hardest for you? Receiving, trusting, or consistency? Receiving, trusting, or consistency. And y'all could drop that anytime down in the comments to let me know which one do you have a harder time with. Thank you for the gifts, love. Which one do you have a harder time with? So I want to go ahead and get started. I only have a few minutes, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. You said consistency, sis. Okay, cool, cool, cool. We're gonna get into that. That was my struggle for the longest too. And one of the things that I realized with the consistency issue was not to force it. That's just one of the main tools is to not force it. So we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into the breakdown of the receiving, trusting, consistency, and which one you fall in, what category you fall in, and why, or how to kind of shift that. But for those of you who are still coming in, and you want to go ahead and jump start to this, you can click the link in my bio and get my free womb wealth pink print. The free womb wealth pink print is going to break down all of this. And y'all, this was marked at $97 because it is more than more than enough to activate you. Is a 7-day protocol that's going to shift how you look at your wealth baseline. It's specifically for womb holders, but it's not specifically for womb holders, but it is created for womb holders. So it'll be a better depiction for you in the practical application. All of that is embodied into it. So the psychological, the physical, the mental, the emotional, all of that nervous system regulation is in there. And it also gives you the archetype that you currently have. So where is your womb baseline? Where's your womb wealth baseline? How do you receive? What archetype are you? Are you a severe do you have a severe archetype? Are you the hidden archetype? Are you the chaotic archetype? Or are you the martyr archetype? Those are the 4 different womb wealth archetypes that I've created to be able to have like a baseline to know where my members are, where are you in your journey to expansion, your journey into wealth. And I want to be clear on the things that I've created in that pink print, that they are curated specifically from my mind to the experience of the clients that I've been serving for the past 7 to 10 years in womb health, and how to expand that. It's also my experiences in that as well, of how I got to this point in my journey to womb wealth, or my journey to self mastery. So let's go ahead and get right into the topic today. Go ahead and like the video if you, or like the live if you are coming in. If you are ready to learn, if you're ready, you have your notepads and everything ready, go ahead and drop a like down in the comments, or drop your name if you are new, so I can greet you properly. All right. So again, drop whichever one in the comments right now, which is the hardest for you to receive, to trust, or consistency. When you're talking about wealth building, when you're talking about expansion, expanding your territory, whether it be in relationships, love, your finances, your spirituality, which one do you have the hardest time struggling with? The receiving in, trusting things, people, places, or the consistency to keep it up? So let's go ahead and jump right into the lesson. Money is not a number. It is a relationship. It is a relationship mirror. And I'm not saying that from the perspective of, we court money, and you have a relationship with money, and you tell money what you want to do with it. You tell money your expectations, all of those things, right? So I'm paying 5 grants to all right. So when you are building a relationship with money, the relationship is, and this is what I've learned on my journey, y'all. Everything that I've structured, all of my courses, my programs, all of these are curated off of systems that I had to learn as a fire child, and not typically having any guidance on how to actually do these things in real time. A lot of times when you're a fire child, you have to learn things on your own. You have to experience life on your own. So a lot of these things are not something that I read or something that I was taught, but simply me going through the process of evolution within my own journey, and spirit exposing it to me, and I'm sharing it with you in the structures that I've built. So money is not a number. It is a relationship, and the relationship is not direct to actual wealth. It is indirect, based off of 4 different types of relationships. There are 4 different types of relationships that I specialize in, or that I hone in on in the Womb Wealth Collective. There are 4 different types of relationships that I break down with my members to kind of gauge where they are emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, as it pertains to their blockages with their wealth or with their expansion. And I want you guys to keep in mind that when I'm saying wealth, and when I'm saying I'm saying money, I'm not necessarily, when I'm saying money, of course money, but when I'm saying wealth, I'm not necessarily limiting it to money. I'm not limiting wealth, I'm not limiting expansion, I'm not limiting growth to actual just money, because again, it's a reflection, it's a mirror of 4 different types of relationships. So let's go ahead and get into the relationships. The first relationship that I reflect on in a Womb Wealth Collective with my members is the relationship with romance. Your relationship with romance. What type of partners do you attract in your relationships? Who are you attract? What's your type? That says a lot about the type of money that you'll receive, or the type of money that you come. If you've noticed, like, women who attract, and I never mind. I ain't gonna get into all that. Y'all gonna have to come into the Womb Wealth Collective to get those type of explanations, or to get the nitty gritty of each one of these. So we just gonna go on through them, and let y'all get the surface of what I mean. Okay, so romance is the number one relationship we look at. Romance, especially for women, who you attract, the type of men that you're attracted to, the type of partners that you're attracted to, says a lot about the type of wealth you'll have, the type of finances, your ability to attract is going to say a lot about that. If you are with people who don't typically like to serve, I know for myself, I like pleasers. I'm not familiar with the nuance of even 50-50 in intimacy. I like pleasers. I like people who do not care whether they're, I ain't gonna say they don't care, but their main focus is not on whether it's reciprocated. Their main focus is, I want to make sure that you get there. Those are the type of people that I like. Those are the type of men that I like. So I don't have a problem with receiving in the romantic area. So when it comes to a degree, so when it comes to the type of relationships, the romantic relationships you have, that says a lot about how you receive, or your mirror, what how your money reflects to that mirror. The second relationship that I reflect on in the Womb Wealth Collective is your godly relationship, your relationship with the divine, your relationship with God. What type of spiritual hygiene do you keep up? What relationship, if any? A lot of y'all say, I'm Christian, or I'm Muslim, or, I practice spirituality, I'm spiritual, or whatever, but you don't actually have a spiritual religion. You don't have, and by religion, I mean something that you're doing religiously, some type of devotion that you are committing to on a day-to-day basis, ritualistic things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. I'm not talking about praying over your food, or praying when you're going to bed, like those generic prayers that's not reaching past the ceiling. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, what is your actual genuine relationship with the divine. That tells me a lot about your money blockages, and your ability to expand and be creative in your growth. The third relationship that I look at is your relationship with your parents. Whether they're still here, whether they're not, whether you're adopted, whatever, your relationship with your biological parents or your guardians or whoever says a lot about your ability to attract, and your ability to expand. And we're going to get into all four of these, still not super, super deep, but enough for y'all to take something with it and do something with it, okay? So if y'all following along, if this making sense to y'all, make sure you're liking the video. Make sure that you are sharing it to somebody who might get some wisdom from it as well. And if you're not following me on YouTube, make sure that you follow me on YouTube, because I typically try to post my live streams from TikTok onto my YouTube. So make sure if you missed the video, if you can't get in to get all of it, that you follow me on YouTube at The Fire Child Speaks to get the full video again, or to just replay it if you missed anything. So the last reflection of your relationships, the last relationship that I focus on in the Womb Wealth Collective, is your relationship with authority. And this is my biggest problem, my relationship with authority. That was my biggest one. My relationship with God, and my relationship with not God, my relationship with my parents, and my relationship with authority. Those were the two relationships that I struggled with the most when I was doing this reflection, and as I was growing in my self-mastery. Those two relationships are the ones that I have the most insight on and the most experience with, because the other ones kind of came with ease. So why these four relationships? Why do I choose these four relationships to reflect on, or to mirror, to show as a baseline to my income? And what do they actually mean? So if you struggle with any one of those, drop that down in the comment. Which one is hardest for you? Receiving, trusting, or consistency? Which one of those are the hardest for you? And I want to show you why I chose those four and what they mean in the simplest form. So again, wealth mirrors all these relationships, some more than others. Like I said, my parents and my relationship with authority were my main struggles. So if your body isn't familiar with rest or leisure, well, let me go back. Let me go back. What does that actually mean? Let me go back to the four, because I took my notes kind of crazy on my whiteboard, y'all. So just follow with me. So the four relationship, what do they actually mean in their simple form? Your relationships your romantic relationships that you attract, your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever you're married, whoever you're with romantically, who you sleep with, even if it's just casual. This shows your level of ease. How easy is it for you to attract? How easy is it for you to attract? How easy is it for you to have pleasure? How easy is it for you to have leisure, to rest, to have joy? All of these things that come with ease, peace, clarity, structure, safety, those things that come with ease. When you are attracting partners who are chaotic, when you are attracting partners who are inconsistent, when you are attracting partners who are not stable themselves, this is a reflection of your type of money. So you either, and I'm talking mainly to entrepreneurs or people who still do business for themselves, so you can actually practically see this. But this also goes to people who work jobs, just regular 9 to 5s. If depending on what type of jobs you have, are you at a dead end job? Are you at like temp services? Are you at places where it doesn't really take much critical thinking? All of these things still are a reflection of that. So you can put it where it fits. But most of my content is for people who work for themselves, or are, at least are attempting to work for themselves. So that's the first thing. How your relationship with who you attract and the people that you entertain in romantic relationships is a reflection of how easy you think it is to be wealthy. Number two, your relationship with the divine, your relationship with God is a reflection of your infinite possibilities. If you don't have a strong relationship with a higher source, you will be limited to expand your even thought process. This is why when I first started off in entrepreneurship, I kind of separated myself from regular people who, were okay with it, because I started entrepreneurship when I was still in college. So, people who were in college to get good jobs and things, like, I knew that I never wanted to like work the corporate ladder. Like, that was never in the cards for me, ever. So my mindset was completely different. And people who didn't have a good prayer life, or didn't, because I've always been spiritual, I always did my juju and things, so I had a different relationship with my ancestors. I had a different relationship with the higher powers. So even though I still had systematic or ancestral traumas that limited my beliefs, I still had kind of a more open than average mind to the possibilities. I knew from a very young age, like toddler, that I would supersede the environment that I was in. I knew that I was smarter than a lot of people in my environment at a very young age. So my God complex at a young age allowed me to have infinite possibilities. I was never limited in my thinking to what could be. Even if I didn't have the structural baseline, even if I didn't have the guidance, even if I didn't have the tools at the time to manifest those things, I've always been a dreamer. I've always been able to see infinite possibilities, because if I can see it, then it's possible. If someone else has it, then it's possible for me. I never felt inferior to what could be. So your relationship with the divine shows that. When you have people who have a scarcity mindset, and what's funny is, a lot of times the people with the most scarce mindset are people who pray a lot, i.e., religious people who do a lot of praying, like, but it's out of habit. It's not actually a relationship. And so I want to make that clear, that it's a difference between you just doing something out of habit, like you just go to church, on Sunday, you go to the mosque on Friday. But what is that relationship outside of those temples, outside of those institutions? Do you actually believe what you're praying? Do you actually believe that, you are a piece of God, that you are a reflection of God, that you have infinite possibilities because God is an infinite being? Do you actually believe that? Because if you don't, then it is going to reflect in how you look at wealth. It's going to reflect whether you think that money is evil or whether you think that money is a resource and a necessity of abundance to be a reflection of God. Okay? So, number 3, your relationship with your parents is a reflection of your provision. So, do you think that do you think that it's enough money for you in the world? I don't know how many times I've coached women, and they had this idea of what's oversaturated in the market, or they have this idea of nobody's gonna see them, or there's not enough. Again, this is a limiting thing, but your parents are supposed to give you a sense of tools and resources. So when they fall short in giving you those resources, when they fall short in giving you possibility based off of their experiences, when they don't provide you with literacy, financial literacy, when they don't provide you what's required for you to be successful as an adult, then you start to think that that's reality. That's their reality, but you don't have to make it yours. So if your parents did not, your relationship with your parents, if they did not give that to you, a lot of times that's going to affect your relationship with your romantic partners, because if your parents didn't give you that grounding security in provision and supplying things for you and providing resources and access at a young age, then that limiting belief that this is all I got, these are the cards I was dealt, this all I could do, you can throw your hand in at any time. You can throw your hand. That's what they don't teach you. They teach you, play the cards that you were dealt. I could throw this in and say, nah, redeal. So when you are healing past the relationship with your parents, this doesn't mean that you actually have like a chaotic relationship with your parents. Like, oh, I can't stand my mom. Oh, my dad was never there. That's a part of it, but that's not the root. And I work with the root. The surface is not important to me. So when we're getting to the root of that anger and that frustration that you were not provided for, that you were not set up properly, then when we get past that, then we can open back up to the infinite possibility. And all of these relationships actually work together, because once you open up to that possibility, you forgive your parents for all of that, then you stop attracting those type of partners, and then all of this starts with your relationship with the divine. So healing that relationship with your parents is going to guide you back to God, because God is the only one who's going to be able to help you heal through any of this anyway, and to be able to guide you. So the last one is your relationship with the authority. I struggle with this one a lot. Not only because I have a huge ego, but because, again, at a young age, I'm a seer. So I saw past past the environment that I was in. I saw past those environments, and not only did I see past them, I thought that everybody that was supposed to be teaching me were idiots. Not gonna lie, I did. It was arrogant, of course. it was naive of me, of course, but that was just my mindset. That was the mindset that I needed to survive. That was the mindset that I needed to be who I am today as a fire child. Because if I didn't have that attitude then, I would have let myself become a product of my environment instead of changing my environment. So although that helped me growing up to not lose my mind, to say, okay, I know it's something better than this out here. I know that, you know, you have no idea what you're talking about, and I'm going to go and make sure that it's my job to go find the actual truth of what you're telling me, because what you're saying don't make no sense. Because I lived like that most of my childhood, I had a very hard time with authority. Nobody could tell me nothing, period. I to this day struggle with someone saying that they're an authority. Authority to who? Nobody has authority over my life. I'm the only authority of my life. You may give me advice, you might be an elder, you might be someone that I respect, but that does not mean that you have authority over anything over me. I struggle with that a lot. I still battle with that, depending on the circumstance, you know? I'm just being real with y'all. So, what I had to realize in my growing in the authority area, my relationship with the authority, was that I had a problem with safety. I didn't have a problem with authority because I thought everybody just because I thought everybody was idiots. I had a problem with authority because I never thought I was safe enough to be with anyone. I never thought that none of the people that were supposed to protect me, that they had the tools and that they had the resources or the desire to actually keep me safe. So that resulted in me finding my own avenues of what I felt was safe. The people that were supposed to protect me did not protect me. The people that were supposed to care for me did not care for me. So this resulted in me being rebellious in all authoritative relationships. You don't tell me what to do. You can give me advice and I can choose whether I want to listen or not. That's how I went through life. That's still how I go through life. But the perspective is different. The perspective is different in, and I have to check myself on when someone's telling me what to do. And I just my is my inner child just being rebellious? Is my inner child, hold on y'all. Am I just my is my inner child just being rebellious? Is my inner child, hold on y'all. Sorry about that. So is I have to check myself and ask, is my inner child being rebellious, or am I actually getting good advice? Am I actually being given wisdom? Our people perish not from a lack of knowledge, but because they just didn't want to listen. It's because they rejected the knowledge. I don't want to be a fool and continue to make decisions that require me to be set back because I thought that you were trying to tell me what to do. And because I just wanted to be rebellious, I didn't listen when it could have been very much so beneficial for me in my growth and development. Okay. So, safety. Safety. Oh, no, not safety. Let's go back up to romance. Our romantic partners. This is the last section. If y'all following me, make sure y'all like the video. Make sure y'all like the live. If y'all picking up what I'm putting down. If this is making sense to you, make sure you share it with somebody who can get these gems, who can benefit from this information. Also, if you want more details on how to do this and it's specifically curated to your archetype and where you are right now in your baseline, I have a womb wealth pink print that is in my bio right now that you can go and download absolutely free. And I promise you, in the next 7 days, you're going to come back and be like, oh my gosh, it was that simple. Everything that I'm giving you right now, it breaks it down to your specific archetype and how you can move past these blockages that I'm talking about right now. And it's absolutely free. So let's go ahead and get to the last section. The last section. If your body is not familiar with rest or leisure, you get trapped in the hustle culture. That's the reflection of your romance. If you're attracting the wrong people because you have an inadequate relationship with ease, If you don't know how to, if you're not familiar with rest, if your body is not familiar with rest, with leisure, with patience, with ease, with peace, if you're not used to that, then you're going to be in hustle culture. You're going to burn out. Your finances are going to be an emotional up and down, because that's the type of relationships you're used to. You're going to have inspiration. You're going to feel all the feels. You're going to have, all the inspiration, and you're going to stop and start, stop and start, stop and stop until you get to the point where you just stop. And then you do what's comfortable. You go get a job because it's not working. It's working. And this blueprint, this pink print, is for people who are spiritually powerful, who know they have a calling, who know that they have a responsibility to serve, and they're struggling because they don't know how to mesh spirituality with the practicality of this world. I do not believe in being poor, righteous people. If you are calling yourself a healer, if you are calling yourself a practitioner, if you are calling yourself an authority on anything dealing with wellness, growth, spirituality, your bank account should reflect your spiritual wealth. If you are not wealthy in the physical, it's a reflection of your spiritual. So there's no such thing as being spiritually wealthy and it not reflect in the physical. This does not mean that you are not worthy or you're not valuable because of the money that's in your bank account, but it shows how again, where your blockages are, where your leakages are. The reason why you can't multiply it or you can't sustain it, the reason why you can't grow it, because you're not being a good steward over it. And we'll get into that in the pink print. So, number 2, with your relationship with the divine, if your spirit isn't anchored in God, you'll think limited. You'll always have limited beliefs. You'll always think something is too much. You'll always think that things are too expensive. You'll always be hesitant to invest into things that are beyond what you've actually spent. I had to spend thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars on coaching and mentorship and things like that for me to be able to price things at $3,000 and $4,000. It wasn't until I spent $6,000 on a retreat that I could charge $6,000 for a retreat. Well, I don't charge 6, I charge 4. But it took me. I had the offer there. It was packaged there. I had the strategy there. But my baseline did not reflect that because I had never spent it. So in my mind, who's going to pay this much for a course? Who's going to pay this much for a retreat? Who's going to pay this much? I will. So if I know that I will, I know that someone else will. And not only will I, all the other women who are on this retreat with me, all the other women who are in this program with me, they will too. So now my environment has changed. Now my perspective has changed. And that just leveled up my experiences. A lot of times we think that this is mind work, but it's not mind work. It's body work. Your mind can be on board with everything that I'm saying right now, but if you have not also changed your body, your womb is remembering all your financial struggles. Your womb remember all the abusive relationships you've been in. Your womb remembers your parents not being there for you. Your womb remembers that you're still mad at God for taking your granny when you were 9. Your womb remembers all of this. So it doesn't matter how much we change our mind if we do not also do the healing work to regulate now our womb and regulate our inner child and regulate in our bodies where we are, our fascia and all this other stuff that your muscles and your tissues and your cells and your bones are remembering. Is more than just your mind. Number 3, if your heart is not familiar with provision, if your heart is not, this is your relationship with your parents, if your heart is not familiar with being provided for, if your heart is not familiar with having more than enough of a supply, then you will be hyper independent. And we all know that hyper independence is a reflection of lineage grief. Hyper independence is a response to your lineage being your lineage crying out for help, and in the cycle of if can't nobody do it, I got to do it myself. I can't ask for help. If you want it done right, do it yourself. Those are lineage griefs. Those are lineage cycles, your ancestral traumas and cycles that they had to survive through. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. Once you teach yourself that it's more than enough, once you actually see how good life really can get, once God shows you that this was all stuff that you made up in your mind, this is all the stuff that they told you to believe. I never told you that. I never told you that this was all that you could have. I never told you that this is all that you deserve, that this was all that you were worth. You told yourself that. I didn't tell you to believe that. That's what God is going to tell you once you start to see the possibilities. A lot of y'all don't dream big. You don't see big because you've never experienced it. You ain't never got off the porch. You ain't never been nowhere. You don't have anything to base it off of. And that's not your fault until it is. It's not your fault until it is. Some people are very comfortable with having the very bare minimum, and that's okay. That may be their journey. Everybody's not meant to be wealthy. Everybody can be, but everybody's not meant to. Everybody don't have the mental grit. Everybody don't have the discipline. Everybody don't have the fortitude. So some people are there, but if you know in your bones there is something more out of here, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, then I'm talking to you. You know you're struggling and settling for the bare minimum, but that you know that you're not comfortable there. You're not okay with being there. And I'm not talking about just trying to get rich real quick, but you know that you are supposed to have more because you're called to serve more. You can't host this event because you don't have enough money to market. You don't have enough money. You don't have time to get off work and to go and engage into your community. You don't have time to go and feed the homeless. You don't have the resources to be able to help and bless other people. You know that you're called to do more. But because you don't have the proper systems in place and you don't have the proper foundation, baseline, and the vision to be able to expand, then you're still circling around the same emotions and looping around the same experiences, okay? And the last one, if you don't feel safe or rebel against authority, then you won't feel grounded enough to be an open container. And like I said, this was my main one that I had to focus on, that I had to do a lot of shadow work for, a lot of root work for. Feeling safe, root chakra work, feeling safe, being grounded. If I don't feel safe around anybody, and safety is not a place. Safety is an internal safety. So I can say, I don't feel safe in this environment. I don't feel safe around this person. But I had to realize it wasn't them. It wasn't external. I didn't feel safe in my own body. I didn't feel safe to make decisions that would allow me to be safe after I made that decision. I didn't feel safe when I was allowing myself to not be respected in certain situations. It wasn't that they didn't make me feel safe. I didn't feel safe enough of being who I am. I didn't feel safe enough to lead. I didn't feel safe enough to call it out. I would suppress it, and I would direct my anger somewhere else, that where it shouldn't have been. So when I found safety within myself, to be grounded within myself, authority became is very different. I can now at least listen, listen enough to be able to filter out whether this is my rebellion that's not listening to you, or is this actual great advice? Is this actual wise counsel, or is this just me being rebellious? Okay. So wealth isn't hustle. You can't hustle yourself into wealth. You can't, sow a million seeds and wait for, what's going to pop off. When you have purpose and direction and clear vision, you're not going to waste your time trying to invest into a whole bunch of different things in hopes of something popping off. That doesn't mean to sit around and fiddle your thumbs When you're waiting in the waiting season, that means to keep building, that means to keep learning, that means to keep expounding on that stick, that same one seed. That's how you nurture seeds, that's how you grow seeds. So when you're understanding that wealth is not hustle, wealth is not greed, or it's not even a safety net. It's not a safety net, because if it was a safety net, it wouldn't come and go. You on that job because you think that it's a safety net, that you can get fired today. You can get laid off today. Your business, that company could go out of business today, and you not have that safety. In entrepreneurship, we know ain't no safety net with that. You could be up 50,000 this month and don't make $1, but $5 next month. Like, so there's no safety net when it comes to money at all, or wealth at all. The safety net is your emotional baseline. Your safety net is your emotional baseline, meaning that whether it shows up in my account or whether it doesn't show up in my account, you would not know the difference. And that's one of the things I do pride myself on, because I never valued money in that way. It was helpful and harmful. It was helpful in the way of, I never was attached to money. I never priced things and did things because I was money hungry. I did it because I knew the energetic exchange, the value of the energetic exchange. But it was never just because, I just need all this money. It was never about that. And it allowed me to never change up. So when someone didn't want to buy, I didn't close on a sale, or someone didn't want to buy, or someone didn't follow up, it didn't make me feel any less than of a creator. It didn't make me feel any less than of a healer. It didn't change anything about my mood whatsoever, because it was never about the money. It was about, are we in alignment for me to serve you? Are you in alignment to actually get the most out of what I'm providing for you? It's that simple. Money had nothing to do with it. The only difference is money is the container that allows me to sift through who's actually ready for the information that I'm sharing. Who's actually going to get the most benefit? Because I would tell people all the time, like, I don't want your money because I know for sure you're not going to finish my program. I've told a lot of people that. I've sent refunds to people like, yeah, you're not coachable. I can't do anything for you, because my results is what gives me grit. My results are what is what makes me continue to do the work that I do, not how much you paid me. All right. So I hope that this information was helpful. If it was, make sure that y'all like the video. Make sure that y'all share the video to someone else who can learn from this information. And this full video is going to be reshared back on YouTube. So make sure that you're following me on YouTube, so that you can take notes, go back through this and take notes. And the link is in my bio for you to get the Womb Wealth pink print. And it gives all of this information in a lot more detail. And it actually breaks down, which archetype are you? Which womb wealth archetype are you? Where is your baseline at right now? And practical steps on how you can go from being stuck to some motion within the next 7 days. The link is in the bio and it's absolutely free. Thank y'all so much for trusting me on your womb